Kosi sikeleli South Africa.
System. She does not need to fight against the men of her class in order to tear down the barriers which have been raised against her participation in the free accommodation of the market.
Mandla. A quick story. I first attended Corporate VP, a Manners Partners workshop organized by Sadtu Western Cape a few years ago, and I think it was just after your retirement when I got to know her, and she has been part. Greetings from the Don Pasquale House. We extend a welcoming hand to all guests and delegates to this August occasion, the inaugural men's conference. The eminent future baby, but they don't see the baby. We suffer from what one of my famous writers.
And for the spiritual and symbol of everlasting life. Light this candle in solemn name
with disabilities, albinism, HIV and AIDS, the mental handicaps and the elderly. May the light of this candle inspire us to foster
365 Days Campaign to End Gender-Based Violence. And not allowing any form of violence to take place without doing something about it. You can sign your comrades. Please sign. 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 Comrade, thank you, comrades. Just to say, Kosikasi. Yes, I wanted that one. She really is a lady. No.
Comrade Nel was alerting to. The theme of our conference today is the role of male gender champions in take home after this conference. And I listened to him. And I said, I'll speak tomorrow. I'll tell you tomorrow. But I think you know what we hear. If I was to workshop you, I'm sure Neil would say, just ask them, why did they come here? Pillar number 2 of our Sadtu 2030 vision speaks about creating a learning nation. Collective aspiration is set free, and where people continually see the whole together, should be agents of social change, aimed at improving the lives of the members and the society at large. Therefore, union, it says, male champions for change. And there's a quote, unless men are actively engaged in supporting better health and wellness in our communities, then becomes the responsibility of the whole community. You would see different stakeholders that cause and perpetuate violence. Furthermore, we need to provide these kind of men's forums, creating a safe space for men to talk about their own challenges. Gender inequality and dependency are fueling gender-based violence and abuse. And therefore we need to build from the mouth of another male who someday said, if you are sitting here today, we are all as gifts seeing it happen. And therefore we want to change today. What are the issues we might be debating here today? Most of the times, or some of the times, equal or even more than men. And now the question arises, were men prepared adequately to deal with a woman to love? Do we really know how to love? Because we are told not to show emotion. If we show emotion, we are told that we are weak. We want to say today that men are central to the masculine. Have a liking of German cars. I don't drive one. But I learned that if you drive a Mercedes, you are judged by others. So men always have to compete. And today we want to say, men, fine. It does not have to be the Merc or the BMW before you are considered a man. Why? Why? Because men don't speak about their health. They don't talk about sexual-related matters. Oh, no. And the chairperson was seated, and the chairperson looked at me and he said, "Shells, are you going to collapse my conference?" Because we don't speak about. When we were traveling together, you said, Shells, you said something today. I said the following, DPS. I said, if you do not heal from what hurt you, you will bleed on others. I want to repeat, men, you need to be healed. Somewhere hurt that you don't speak about. If you don't speak about it, and if you don't heal, you will bleed. Break it today. Come clean. We don't need to question your role as men in society. We don't want to sit on your head. We want to walk beside you. And today, as I end, we want to say, this conference, take care of their health. You take care of your health, and we will take care of you. Your physical health and your mental health. Because that mindset of yours, if it's still there, being king of your house, having your food brought to you, tell your friends, my wife is pregnant. Please change it to, we are pregnant. Together, we will make, and when we leave here as transformed men, ready to lead the fight alongside the women. Forward. Amandla.
Awakening call to all the women, to all the men that are here. Comrade, let me also welcome our amongst ourselves. I'm not sure, Comrade, whether I would say it's a comrade I like or I love so much. Or I love so much. A brief story about me and Jonathan is that I realized that South Africa is backward. Because in that delegation of us to Cuba as Sadtu, by the way, Comrade Jonathan, as Sadtu chairpersons, I was the only SACOM convener. It was chairperson. And with the trade unions, we met women leading, and we were men. Then I realized, comrades, we are very backward. And then meeting the SACP. The SACP is the one that is grounded in these struggles. But look who's leading the SACP. And who's been leading the SACP? It's also who knows that song. There's a nice song by Millie Jackson. It had so good. It might have, comrade, so good that to allow that transition. Otherwise, as one person has said there, we'll speak about this. It's all about oomph. And I think a car is a car. It's all about oomph, comrades. And if you hate that BMW, you're hating the person. Anyway, it will as if there is no boat in their house until that BMW is repaired. Then you start to see there, oh, there are people, there are children, there are women in this house that can buy food. That's how men behave, comrades. That's about 9. Then we were sitting there, conversing about things and good. A man came. A man came there. There were 3,000, 4,000. He took it, put it on fire. That's how men behave, comrade. Literally, as we said, shares. They don't have a heart, emotional. I'm not sure that, and look to all of us, maybe saying who's going to speak. And we kept quiet, literally. And he left. Comrades, as we do so, we want to call upon Comrade Shes to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Shahida Jansen. Over to you, Comrade Shes.
For just putting the cherry on top, you know? Yeah, when you drive those big cars, you know you've got that. And you can literally pave the one that is just driving the tears. Does that make him any less of a man? You see? Introducing the next speaker. Please pardon us because we still don't have it on the screen, but luckily I do have the bio in front of me. We will screen. She is a clinical psychologist, serves at UNISA's Western Cape as the Deputy Director of Academic and ICT Support Services. She previously managed personal transformation for boys and men. Last year, UNISA Press released her book, and I'm having one here. It's called Masculinity Meets.
Okay, can we settle down so that we can just, I think you were all such a sport, so thank you for just getting up and getting out there in the cold and participating in this activity. I just want you relied on each other, so I just want to, before I take the other hand, I just want to check who else, communication, right? Who else wants to actually just do a shout out to communication? But what about the communication? Okay, so communication, a common goal, right? So communication about the common goal. I'm going to go back and then I'll come here. Communication, you have to come up with a So communication also can include communication that is not always
come up with a solution, and then we communicate our solution to each member of bringing this point up.
life is about failing. You're not even coming. The wave hits you. That's how hardship comes. Right? You can see now it's not a book talking, it's loved experience, right? We understand that life. Yes.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking like innovativeness, like people have to be creative. Innovation.
Innovation. Much more.
What is also important in my opinion, man?
Always be clever. Okay? You can't always be the one who wants to have the last word. Sometimes I'm going to have, you get Xhosa speakers, colored men, sometimes it's a white African. You get Xhosa speakers, colored men, sometimes it's a white Afrikaner male, so there's diversity, right? But for all of us who come from relational cultures, we come from people.
Dan sê hulle, hastige hond
Verbrand sy mond.
Dan sê hulle, hastige hond.
Verbrand sy mond, right? Yes. I just have to share this. I was part of a therapy group, my own therapy group. And we were a group of professionals. And I'll never forget the one girl was that I grew up in South African context. So I'm going to stop there so that I can just...
The focus towards the finishing. So we were compensate in other words. So patience is very, very important so that you...
It's staggering. I'm not going to, because that's Kupano's area, right? It's staggering. I'm not going to, because that's Kupano's area, right? I'm not going to interfere in his area. But I think, so I was at Stellenbosch University 2 days ago, so alright, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do something about that. Because the boys who are expelled, often the boys, you know, when the time they talk to you a little bit about, not too long, alright? So this picture that you see there is a real picture that we took. I'm not sure if you were part of this training men to work with other men. And we started with this activity. And so what the literature say, what the scientific literature say, is that if you want to work more effectively with boys and men, the group starts, the first session starts, I tell them, you're not even going to come and sit down in the first time you come. You come and the water and the lapis are ready on each other from above. So, and just, you can see the focus and the concentration. All right? And so by the time they sit down, just like what happened here with him, in a way that is sound for them. So you don't impose your view of what a man should do. Right? Presence as a woman in the men's group. So my presence as a woman in a men's, what am I as a woman I'm doing there? But my job when I'm working with men is I'm a technician. A man wants to see, they listen to each other, they reflect each other's feelings. I have done this for 15 years. I have not once experienced one man shame another man. How much pornography you go experience, one man shame another man. How much pornography you go through, right? That's not what my concern is. My concern is you have the humility. What you say, right? We are first human, okay? And that's where we start. So, okay, because men don't come for small and other stuff. At the time they come and see you, because look, he wants to resolve that stuff by himself. He wants to. So, but see what it looks like in the room. And this is what he does also when he sees people. So when you come into the room, is as the men come into the room, then this will be lying in the room, okay? And so that they emphasize spirituality so that, that it's clear that I'm not culturally appropriating, because all of the dimensions of the self that you see here is also in my own tradition. I'm just calling it here the mother self because I'm made that your very nature is to take perspectives, is to shift, is to be growth oriented. And so how are we saying that men don't talk about the feelings? All of that, right? All of the problems that you're having, all of the criminality, it's only here in your animal side. Okay? But there's no blood involved. There's no guns, there's no knives. Women don't need that.
Trevor, no one thinks something else.
For you, and I was doing this at Stellenbosch University. So, and I have to say this because I was explaining how we disconnect gender-based violence from the foundational and the root violences, the colonial violences, that was directly can't pay damages to see his child. So he's excluded culturally from fathering, okay? Because there's no money for him, he can't even survive. So he doesn't have money to pay damages. Ilobola, forget it. When children are born outside of wedlock, the stories that we are used to is he either pays damages or even marries the mother, he admits, or he denies paternity, rejects. Or sometimes the paternity. I was traumatized as I was writing that assignment. I was an undergraduate writing an assignment on slavery in the Western Cape. I was traumatized trying to wrap my head around it. Is to ask you, is to say, that we need to pay more attention and we need to stop following haters. So behaving wayward. You mean that we don't have Ubuntu for that? We do not have understanding? I'm not condoning anything. Oh no, oh no. I'm not condoning anything. Oh no, oh no. Intolerant of the pain of men. Yeah? And so we must stop saying men are not talking, Are we making it? Are we giving?
Comrades, let us give another round of applause. Comrades, let us give another round of applause. I just learned two things that with us, it will continue in perpetuation. So men, wake up. I like Mother Teresa, I said, if one of us, the number two, okay, then three is Laura.
Thank you. Good morning, comrades. So my question is basic, plain, and simple.
And see what we can do for our children. That is very much do for our children. That is very much. But my question is,
Men like that. Why do we do it like that?
The last hand is the one on the corner, Chief. Yes. This session committee.
Let me stand. I just first want to say, that I don't think that I'm able, to these environments even thrive. They outperform their male siblings. And we know this. We see this in the townships where we are from. Okay? So thank you, and I think your question is fix it for our children. We can't break the curse or the cycle. I say to the fathers, you come and you heal from your wounds. Mother wounds, father wounds, get in touch with each other. Yeah? Ancestor veneration, you find. Rituals for initiation, gender. Because gender, in fact, women often blame their partners when I say to them, be honest. Where did the abuse start? And I'm not absolving men. To them, be honest. Where did the abuse start? And I'm not absolving men. Safe spaces for men, they talk. Men disclose sensitive issues. They speak about their pain. It is an understanding that often as women we want our, right? So, but then we say they don't talk, but
Fins and whatever and come back, but not all of us. Maybe one at a table at a time, so that we don't disrupt the program. Yeah, as we do. So I'm noting 3 hands. There's one hand, the Chairman of the West Coast, the comrade. There's a third one here.
By the apartheid police. It only even touched the daughter. She's now done with school. So we were watching TV and she was now watching the screen. And there was a commercial coming up and was commercial toys for kids. Which means that can the violence in us as men be inherited? Without
turning 24 this year, but I don't have relationships with them.
I should like to know from you, we have very excellent students in the present school. The academic results is very, very good. Us, as worse gangsters in the cells. What strategies can you advise me to follow?
That mostly men are bottled up inside.
Without repercussions. Women don't want to see a man. They don't. The men are telling me how they get punished for They will get no evidence, as far as I can tell, that we inherit, violence, these like genetic traits. The same way it's difficult to actually find the genetic. What I do think, is that the gender identity stuff happens way earlier than we think. It happens around 18 months, even before then, right? When a gene for inferiority or a gene for it. South Africa is a very violent society in the kind of messages that we are getting of who we are. Whiteness is rewarded. It's rewarded to be secular. It's rewarded to be, to be a neoliberal self. So your child, like colored children, for example, they get rewarded for being white rather than, and I think that is why I use Trevor Noah. Because one of the things that we desperately need in the issue, it's a big problem, and colored people need to be re-indigenized because, they've been de-indigenized, been disconnected, right, from the indigenous. But what I'm trying to give you is, I'm trying to explain to you the primal power of women. They can sit there not doing anything. Yeah. Who wants to be dads. So that's why I say.
What is happening wrong here? Is it this generation of ours? Because I don't think our fathers and our mothers treated the way we treat the way the society it is today. Are we? But if we go back again and laugh about it and see it happening because it's my friend, no liberalism. If it's done by Vus, I don't stand up for it because it's my friend.
To the podium, can I just call Dr. Jansen and also Zolani to the podium, so that when we opened this conference this morning, and I want to agree with you, Dr. Jansen, that we said men don't speak, but I think women and they hurt. And I opened my...
Yet, in our bodies, this is how we live out every day. How do we disrupt the normative system of heteronormativity, of comprehensive sexuality education in schools? And so teachers find it extremely difficult to talk about. So gay, lesbian, transgender, identifying learners in schools, and the teachable moments in the classroom is then lost. And I want to challenge us as men this morning, open up spaces. We heard this morning that spaces must be created for men to talk. But how do you, as a man, in your classroom, in your school, in a holistic understanding and approach to sexual and gender diversity? If we do not have an holistic approach, education or CSE offers teachers, and here I'm talking to male, masculine identifying teachers, a unique opportunity to talk to your male identifying learner, your boy learner in the class, if I can put it that way. But also to give diversity, then we need to do the work. That should tell you of feminine gay men who are the binary. Another lived reality within schools is that teaching sexual diversity, we're talking about sexual orientation. Another reality is that there is huge debates around gender neutral toilets. We want to call conference. Yet, little boys and little girls on a daily basis are bullied, victimized in our toilets. Yet schools, principals, our senior management do not want to introduce gender-neutral toilets because the term gender is not understood, are being bullied. So what did some schools do? They've opened up their teachers' toilets and have said to students, if you feel unsafe in your own toilets, feel free to use these toilets that the teachers use. Or if there was a disabled toilet or a toilet for disabled. Conversation went on for an hour, and then a caller called in and said to the minister, and it was Afrikaans, but I'm first going to say it in English, is reduced to how do you have sex? As a lesbian woman, how do you satisfy each other? Who is the man who triggers this morning in the various conversations?